Alright, so we're starting the day off here in Lakeland, Florida. Coming down I-4, I see Q603 here, pulling into Winston Yard. He has a restricting at the Winston Y. It looks like he's got 3 GEs if the camera could focus. Come on. Yep, looks like 3 GEs. Pulling in, he'd have a slow approach at that signal right there at the North Y Winston. A slow approach signal would be a red over yellow. Slow speed on the CSX is 15 miles an hour. You got 5229 and ES40 DC, 376 and AC 4400, and another AC 4400 trailing. Just slowly taking the Y here. I'm on my way to Mulberry, so I'm not going to really stick around for this whole train. But I thought you'd like to at least see the power. I'm going to use a big one too. And here he is about to knock down the restricting. Sorry about the pull, I'm on the other side of the A-line right now. Well, with that we're going to head down to Mulberry. Alright, so I got my driver, Mr. Joshua Evans here, and we're in, I don't even know what to say it's called. Let's call it Nichols. We have our radioactive mountains here. Josh, explain what these are.
These are gypsum stacks. Gypsum stacks are the byproduct of the phosphate producing process, and they naturally contain radioactive isotopes in the gypsum. It's not to the point where like driving past them will give you cancer or anything, but they're still higher than normal levels, hence you see the barbed wire on the fences here. It's not conducive to just be released to the environment, so they line the ground with plastics and stuff and then pile the gypsum on top, and then they undergo different processes to like refine it and dispose of it. These stacks have been here for a few decades. There's new ones being built south of here. There's also a few towards the Riverview area, some that are getting torn down and some that are sitting stationary. But basically it's just a bunch of radioactive dirt that they don't know what to do with. And they're working on disposing of it, but there's just too much of it to dispose of at once. So it's basically like a giant dumping site. Sorry, that was a rough crossing there. It's a giant dumping site until they have time to go and dispose of it.
Right now we're rolling through what I call real Florida. Not the theme parks, not Disney, not the darn mouse. You got these backcountry roads here. Just going through wherever you lose your cell phone signal out here. So right now we're going toward Edison Junction right now. And we're gonna see what goes, if there's anything going on there. They usually swap a couple Bone Valley trains there, so we're gonna see what goes on down here today. So right there, that's Edison Junction. To the left you got Mulberry, and to the right you go down further into the Bone Valley toward New Wales and toward Bradley Junction. This is all Seaboard track right here, and this is the Welcome Yard. You'll hear dispatchers give trains EC1s to and from the Welcome Yard limits, and that's pretty much right here. You got a small yard here, and you got 2 pass tracks here where they like to meet and swap 2 trains. And over here you got strawberries.
There's Christian kicking his shin on the tow bar.
That's my shin into Josh's tow bar. Mr. Evans, why don't you talk a little bit about this place over here?
Alright, so this place used to be a seaboard yard that they used to like set trains up and stuff that ran south to Arcadia. And up until the last 15 years or so, sometimes to a limited extent, CSX would use it. I remember when I was a kid, you'd come out here and you'd see boxcars and stuff being set in the yard. Not sure if that was interchange freight for Arcadia, but they used to put them there. And then towards the turn of the century, particularly right after the big hurricanes in 2004, this yard ended up seeing a significant decline in use, and eventually it was used only for maintenance away. And as you can see now, the yard's been taken out of service. The tracks have sunk considerably lower than the rest of the roadbed, and it's now what I believe to be exempted track for use only with maintenance away. And even with that, maintenance away hasn't seen those rails in a very long time. There's a derailer down there. I don't know if you can see that yellow derailer there, basically keeping anybody from getting in there. So that's the story of this track. This track here on the outside of the yard, this track closest to the yard is what is considered to be the main here at Welcome. And this track over here, which looks like a main line, is actually what they call the secondary. And this track is the track that spurs off to go north towards Plant City. It's the actual Plant City sub that leads up to Sandler's Junction downtown. This track is a manual throw, whereas everything else is radio controlled. Interestingly enough, this track is still hand thrown on both ends. So any train coming on and off the secondary has to manually throw it. And if they don't reset it back, any trains that have to come through on the main have to stop and throw it as well.
Now, wasn't there a Y a little farther down?
Yes, the spur that goes north on as the Plant City sub is the only half of that Y left. The other half used to be whenever they would run trains from Coronet south out of Plant City, running towards Tampa, loaded wet rock, and once they abolished that, they pulled off the left leg of the Y, and only the right leg of the Y services now, as they occasionally run trains up there on reroute.
And over here, to my understanding, there used to be a track that still went up there and connected toward the left toward Mulberry.
Yes, there was another track that ran around, and in the center of this Y here, you see where it is a bunch of... Sorry.
Any conversation stops by talking about the dispatcher.
It's a 3330, which has been down here for a while, that's why I'll stop it. But down there where you see all the greenery down there, there actually used to be a depot, a little freight depot, that sat there, and it was Edison. That's what they called it, and that's where this whole area got its name. Now, if you walk down there, there's nothing much to see, but you can see the build-up, where the earthworks were, where the depot actually used to be. I've actually been down there and located that before.
One thing notice is this old Seaboard switch stand here. And one thing you'll see a lot of over here in this part of Polk County, strawberry fields.
County.
We're in Hillsborough County?
Yes.
Okay, Hillsborough County. Is strawberry fields.
This is the annual strawberry crop. Plant City is known as the winter strawberry capital of the world, so during this time of year you'll see all the berry growers throwing the berries out. These plants here have been growing for about 2 months now. They're getting into their mature stage. As you can see if you look close, there are berries starting to form on some of them, but there's nothing really bright red out there, and that's because none of the fruit is actually ripe yet. The fruit doesn't really come into stages to be picked until the late end of December, beginning stages of January, and they'll continue to pick until the beginning of March. Berries, their sweetness is derived primarily from the actual temperature of the air around them, because sugar acts as an antifreeze, so whenever we get strong cold snaps repeatedly throughout the season like we've been getting this year, the berry crop is particularly sweet. Hot, warm winters usually result in a more inferior crop. So what we're hoping for this year is we're hoping that with the regular cold snaps we've been getting every week, that we're going to get a particularly sweet crop this year.
I know it was cold last year over here, and they were very, very sweet, nice, juicy strawberries.
The cold's been more consistent this year, so we're hoping that the crop will be even better this year than it was last year.
Hope so. Another look at this old switch stand here. The top of it's been replaced, but this is old Seaboard. It's orange tagged, so only certain people can come and unlock this. Your regular train crew can't just come and unlock it to go into the yard tracks here. It's orange tagged. Pine Lock Yard had a similar switch stand here, like this, until a derailment a couple years ago. A rock train took the switch out. Here's the New Wales Bradley Junction side. There's tie plates all down the middle of the rail here. Okay, the gauge. And over here, good old small. Here's the other end. Here's the other end of the Y here. All three sides of the Y here are controlled by radio-powered switches.
Not too many people.
There's a squirrel.
Not too many people railfan this side of Edison.
No. Actually, over there is a high radio-powered switch. Not sure why that one has a high mast instead of the smaller indicators, but Alright, so that was K340-22 here near the north end of Mosaic, past track here in Bone Valley. We're going to try to go toward Keysville now to catch him again. We weren't intended to catch him here, but he just kind of passed us here, so we're going to move on north to get him again somewhere better. have no idea what train that just was. Josh thinks it's K339. I was up with I'll have to double check on that, but we're back where we originally were now to catch that K340 here on the Valrico sub in Bone Valley. Well, the spot Josh likes is a hill here, so that SD40 should be doing pretty good here. So I don't know if I said it or not, but the two wet rock trains are the East Tampa to Ridgewood trains. They are swapping right now at Welcome Yard, where we just were earlier in the video. So we're sitting here near the SV, or SZ I should say actually, SZ milepost 9 on the Valrico sub. We're 9 miles from Valrico Junction, Valrico, Florida. And we're just waiting for him to come north really, and then we're going to go there. We might venture down to Agrock and see if we can get the Mosaic runs out of there after this one goes in. So it's really just kind of a go with the flow type of way down here in the Bone Valley. So we'll see what happens as it gets there. So we're still sitting here, and we just got I guess someone called in that we were standing here with rifles. So this is Hillsborough County, right? Yeah. Hillsborough County Sheriff comes over here looking and just asking us questions. Real nice guys. Ask what we're doing. So apparently these are a couple of rifles. We don't know. Real nice guys. They just ran our information and whatnot. But yeah, apparently somebody passed by over on the street over here and thought that these were high-powered rifles or something like that. So they called the police on us. So we had what 4 sheriff's officers, right?
That's right. That was kind of a surprise. 4
sheriff's officers come up on us right now. It was kind of funny. So the trains just swapped out. Still no idea what the one you just saw was. We're gonna assume it's 339 now. And so we got the other one with the SD40 coming toward us. So that's some little fun right there. How loud is it gonna be?
It'll be pretty loud. Yeah. That's why we picked this spot.
Because he'll be doing like kind of right here. He'll probably do a close line with me too, so that's pretty loud. Well, I'm gonna get off then.
That's why we picked this spot, because we knew he's gonna be loud hitting that hill.
Enjoy it then.
Thanks.
Okay, so we're on our way. We're back in Mulberry now. We heard an 0805 calling South Lake something. We don't know where he's at. We're gonna go. He called a signal, so we're gonna go.
We're gonna follow the route of 805.
We're going to head back to the Valrico sub. We're heading down toward Agrock, but where's that road? Can you cross the other side over there? No. Well, anyway, we were going to go down to Agrock, but K340 didn't even go that way anyway, so it's better we just go back up here. So we're coming back up toward the Diamond now in Mulberry. See if we can't figure out where this 0805 is at. 730 is at New Wales now. The old Seaboard TR2 signal there.
The eye patch.
We're about to cross the Bone Valley sub and the Valrico sub. Bone Valley sub here, Valrico sub here, and now we're back in downtown Mulberry. We're gonna go toward Ridgewood, otherwise known as Ragweed.
879.4. Main track.
Okay, so that's K340. Getting ZC1 from south end of Ridgewood down to... So we're here at the milepost SVE 853.0. We're going to shoot K340 here in a scene that looks just about as classic of Florida as it gets. This screams Seaboard Airline, Florida. The train will be K340 with two CSX GEES40 DCs. Is getting away from me. You still got 55, you did.
I was doing 85.
You're doing 85? You do what you gotta do.
Well, we had interstate speed back there, so now bring it back down.
But we're gonna catch the next spot in Fort Meade next to an old Alco RS1, I believe. So we're gonna be there in a couple minutes. We're trying to get ahead of him still, so we'll be there in a couple minutes. We're about a mile and a half away. Back on one of those old Florida roads. across the Peace River right now. We're heading down toward Bowling Green. It's just one of those old Florida back roads, especially down here in the Bone Valley. People don't usually see, but this is Florida. Well, your K340 is pulling into Fort Meade now. We've got more 0805s coming south from Ridgewood with 2 SD40s, so we're going to go back up to a spot from earlier. Heading north out of Bowling Green now. Set my radio back to 84.
04. Yeah, we're going to be coming on track 1, so we'll be clear just later on the racetrack.
For those of you who also say Florida has no hills, well, lots of places in Florida beg to differ. Rolling through the orange groves. We're in the middle of Citrus County here. Well, not Citrus County, but you know what I mean. There's a lot of citrus production.
Country.
Citrus country, there we go. We're in the middle of citrus country here. A lot of citrus production here. A lot of, I forgot what percent of America's orange juice comes from Florida. It's a pretty large percent. There was actually, I watched this, it's one of those like 45-minute videos on YouTube you find and you somehow just get wrangled into it. It's one of those videos like how it's made type things. And it's talking about the production over here. Beep. But yeah, we're coming into Fort Meade. So speaking of citrus processing, here's something we see a lot down here in Florida. You see trucks carrying nothing but oranges, and lots of oranges. This is going to a processing facility somewhere in the area. Probably Peace River Citrus up the road. And from there it'll be converted to orange juice and a bunch of other fun orange-related things. Right, back here at the SVE 853.0 for another wet rock train bound for Fort Meade. All right, here comes 0805.
I think in my post majority.
So got that, going back toward Mulberry now. See what else we can find over there, if anything else runs for the rest of the day. It's about 4 o'clock right now, so we'll see if anything else decides to rear its ugly head. So it's died down quite a bit here. So what we're gonna do is, Josh ain't feeling good, so we're gonna split up now. I'm gonna follow the A line back home and see if I can find anything. I'm gonna swing through Eagle Lake, check out the Florida Midland there, maybe shoot the tower there, depending on where that's at, and head on my way home. So this is the end of the Bone Valley, but if I see anything else, I'll add it in here.